Hey everyone! In the history of video games, every so often a single month comes along that's just on another level. A month so absolutely packed with legendary releases, game-changing updates, and industry-shaking news that we end up talking about it for years. Well, April 2026 was one of those months. Okay, let's get right into it.
Yeah, you heard that right. Forget E3. Forget Gamescom. The single biggest, most important event of 2026 wasn't some flashy conference. Nope. It was a 30-day period that completely, and I mean completely, reshaped the gaming world as we knew it. And what a month it was. We saw something we never thought we'd see, Starfield landing on the PlayStation 5. An indie game we'd all been waiting on for years, replaced, finally came out, and just blew everyone away. Capcom solved a 6-year-old mystery, and 2 of the biggest games out there got these huge updates that basically made them feel like brand new experiences. This wasn't just a busy month, it was absolutely legendary. So, let's start with the big one, the seismic shock that kicked the whole thing off, the end of an era. Starfield, Bethesda's massive space RPG and a huge Xbox exclusive, showing up on the PlayStation 5? That wasn't just a simple port. Oh no, it was a declaration that the old rules of the console wars were officially over.
This was all part of a brand new playbook from Microsoft they called the Gaming Everywhere strategy. The goal totally shifted. It wasn't about selling the most Xbox consoles anymore. It was about getting their games into the hands of the most players possible, full stop. Putting one of their crown jewels on their biggest competitor's machine was a massive signal. They were focused on software sales now, not just hardware. It was a really bold move, and as you're about to see, it paid off big time.
Now this is where it gets really cool. They didn't just dump the game on the PS5. They tailored it. Sure, the Xbox had a slight edge with native 4K, but the PS5 version used that lightning-fast SSD to chop down the load times. And, more importantly, it took full advantage of the DualSense controller. We're talking haptic feedback and adaptive triggers that made you feel every gunshot and engine rumble. On top of all that, they even threw in an exclusive 3-hour quest just for PlayStation players. So did the big gamble work? Oh, absolutely. This chart just lays it all out. In its very first week on PlayStation 5 alone, Starfield sold a staggering 6.6 million copies. That's 4.1 million from digital downloads and another 2.5 million in physical sales. I mean, these aren't just good numbers. These are blockbuster, system-selling kinds of numbers. It proved there was this massive audience just waiting for it. And the result of all those sales? Almost $400 million in 1 week from one game on a rival's console. This single number just proved the entire Gaming Everywhere strategy was the right call. It was a huge win for Microsoft's bank account, a huge win for PlayStation gamers, and honestly, a win for the whole industry. But April wasn't just about breaking down walls between consoles, it was also about building incredible new worlds. So while one giant of a game was being reborn on a new platform, a totally unforgettable indie masterpiece showed up to claim its own spot in history. So get this, on the exact same day Starfield launched on PS5, Bethesda dropped a Constellation expansion for free for everyone. And this was not just some minor patch, it was a complete reinvention of the game. It added a super deep crafting system everyone had been asking for, a full-on city builder mode, and more than 30 new quests. It took a game that was already huge and just made it astronomically bigger and better. And then, on the other end of the scale, we got replaced. After years and years of waiting, this indie cyberpunk adventure didn't just launch, it exploded. The critics went nuts for it. I mean, just look at these scores. A 92 on Metacritic, a perfect 10 out of 10 from GameSpot. It was the ultimate proof that a small, passionate team could absolutely stand shoulder to shoulder with the biggest studios in the world.
But, the scores only tell you part of the story. What really made Replaced so special was its heart. You play as REACH, an AI that's been trapped inside a human body, and this one line of dialogue, it just gets right to the core of its powerful, emotional story about what it means to be you. It was a beautiful, beautiful story.
And speaking of long waits, let's talk about a game that was basically the definition of a mystery. For 6 solid years, all we had was this one super cryptic trailer. Then, in April 2026, the silence was finally broken.
This timeline really puts it into perspective, right? Capcom shows off Pragmata way back in 2020 with one of the most interesting trailers we'd ever seen, and then nothing. Crickets for 6 years. The entire community was just wondering, was it canceled? What even is this game? And then, boom, April 18th it launches and we finally got our answers.
So what is Pragmata? Well, it's a slick, sci-fi action-adventure game built on Capcom's amazing RE engine. The gameplay is all about this really cool gravity manipulation mechanic you use for everything from fighting bad guys to solving puzzles. It's this unique story-first experience that landed a really impressive 88 on Metacritic. The wait was definitely worth it.
And just like Replaced, Pragmata wasn't afraid to ask some really big questions. This quote from the game just perfectly captures its central theme. It's a thoughtful, philosophical ride that really sticks with you long after you're done, making you think about the real cost of survival.
So when you start putting all these pieces together, the fall of exclusivity, the rebirth of a gaming giant, the arrival of new indie legends, and solving mysteries we'd been wondering about for years, you really start to see why April 2026 was so much more than just another month. And honestly, as this calendar shows, we've only just scratched the surface. The games we've talked about were just the headliners. This same month also gave us the almost mythical Hollow Knight Silksong, a massive update for Hades 2, and the return of a JRPG titan with Persona 6. Any one of these things would have dominated the conversation in a normal month, but in April 2026, they were all just part of the same unbelievable lineup.
It was an incredible month, but probably a little overwhelming for your wallet. So here's a quick and easy guide. If you want a whole universe to get lost in for hundreds of hours, Starfield is your jam. If you love a tight, emotional story with jaw-dropping art, you have to play Replaced. And for a mind-bending sci-fi mystery, it's gotta be Pragmata. There was truly, genuinely something for everyone.
So what are the big takeaways from this absolutely wild month? Well, this chart kind of breaks it down. It was just the perfect storm, wasn't it? A huge chunk of the impact, 40%, came from that massive industry shift away from exclusives. Another 30% was a powerful reminder of how amazing indie studios are. And the rest was just this great lesson in how patience really can be rewarded for everyone.
April 2026 set a completely new standard. It was a month that reminded all of us why we love gaming, for its innovation, its incredible stories, and its ability to completely surprise us. It really was a golden month, which leaves us with just one question to think about. What on earth could possibly be next?